Hello, economic students. Today we're going to go over the rules of the stock market game. And it's important that you understand these rules because maybe questions will come up as to why isn't this transaction posting? I thought that I was doing good. So, we need to know the rules and let's get started with that. First of all, each portfolio begins with $100,000 in cash. So you have, starting this game, $100,000 in your account that you are able to use to invest in stocks. Now, if you have a cash balance, and all of you start off with a cash balance in your portfolios, you will receive interest. However, you can also borrow money. And if you borrow money in the stock market game, you will be charged interest. You can borrow up to 50% of the value of your portfolio. However, don't do that unless you're sure that you're going to make money on the stock that you're buying with this borrowed money. Interest is charged on that at a rate of 7% per year. That's an annual rate of 7%. You would only want to borrow money to buy stock if you are sure that you're going to make more than 7% return on that stock. Otherwise, you'd be losing money. Also, be aware that when you have cash in your account, it's earning interest as well, but the interest on your cash balance is much, much less than what the interest charged to you would be if you borrow money. The money that's sitting in your cash account right now is earning 0.75% interest. That's a pretty low amount. Yes, you will make some money just sitting there with cash, but you certainly won't win the game. That you want to be investing in stocks because stocks will grow hopefully a whole lot more than 0.75%. Rule number 3, teams may only trade stocks that may only buy stocks that trade on NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. We've talked about that. So you may try at some point to buy a stock and you have what looks like a legitimate ticker. But for whatever reason, the game might come back and say you cannot execute this trade or this transaction. And we may do some some investigating, and then we will find out that that particular stock does not trade on NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. That tends to happen several times each semester. It may happen to you, but if you get a rejection on an order, that's one of the first things we need to check is to see where that stock is traded. I'm going to skip down a few to rule number 6. Teams do not have to liquidate their portfolios at the end of the game. Remember, we're a one semester class, but I actually keep this game open for the entire school year. And every year I have a couple of students who like playing the game, and they continue to play even after the semester is over. And last year, and as I record this, this is in 2022, the team that won in 2021 actually did continue to make some trades after the end of the fall semester and into the spring semester. And they ended up winning the game for the entire state of Illinois as they continue to play. So that was pretty awesome. More rules. Minimum market capitalization in the stock market game is 25 million. What does that mean? You remember that field, the market cap, that we looked at when we were looking at stock listings? The market cap is the total value of a company's stock. The market cap for Coca-Cola, for example, is about $270 billion. Well, we have a minimum market cap for the stock market game. You're not allowed to invest in a company that's market capitalization is less than 25 million. That's actually quite small. Okay. Again, Coca-Cola was $270 billion market cap. We have had a few instances, though, where someone tried to invest in stock and the system wouldn't let them. And we did a little investigation, and the market cap was just under that minimum of $25 million. Another issue is the stock must be trading for a minimum of $3 per share in order to buy it. Stock market game will not let you buy a stock that is selling for less than $3 a share. However, you may buy a stock, say that's $4 per share, and maybe that stock price goes down and it dips below $3 per share. You can still hold the stock, but you just can't buy it. if it's less than $3 per share. And if it does fall below $3 per share, you are allowed to sell at any time, even if it is below $3 per share. Next rule, number 8. The minimum number of shares that you are allowed to buy is 10. You can't buy just 1 or 5 shares of stock. You must buy a minimum of 10. Now remember, you need to look at the price per share. If I'm looking at a stock that is selling for, let's say, $10 per share, and I buy 10 shares of that stock, well, that's only a $100 investment. $10 times 10 shares. You have $100,000 in your portfolio. Let's not do little transactions that are only a couple of $100. Indeed, I think that you should shoot to have a minimum value of a transaction of like $3,000. And personally, I like having transactions that are worth $5,000 or $8,000. You don't want to be doing little piddly, $100 transactions. You will not win the game that way. You've got a lot of cash. Let's use the cash. Let's go down to rule number 10. The stock market game is up and running from 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 8:30 a.m. Central Time, through 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 3 p.m. Central Time. That's when the game is running. However, look on, teams may trade on any day that the markets are open, and orders may be entered 7 days a week during the hours that the system is available. Now that means that you can place an order on Saturday if you want, or on Sunday if the system is up. Now what this means is that the system won't actually execute an order that's placed in the middle of the night, but you can still place an order in the middle of the night, and then the system will execute that order the next day when the stock market game system is up and running. So it is open 24 hours a day to actually, enter orders. It just won't be, the order won't be fulfilled except for those operating hours that you see here. So I hope that's clear. Moving on. Number 12, trades can only be processed in whole. There are no partial fills. What that means is, let's say that I enter a trade and the trade is worth a whole lot of money. I'm trying to buy a whole lot of money worth of stock. There is a limit. You can only buy stock up to 150% of the value of your total portfolio. So if I go over that amount, you might think, well, gosh, if I'm maybe it'll just allow me to buy the maximum amount. No, if you enter a purchase order and the order is bigger than the market will allow you to place, then the entire order will be canceled. Okay, it won't fulfill a partial order. The entire order will be canceled in that situation. Number 13, there's a $5 per trade commission fee. This is very real world. If you are buying stocks online with a online broker like Schwab, they're going to charge you a commission every time you place an order. And the stock market game does the same thing. Okay, so this is very real life kind of deal. There are commission fees charged on any stock transaction in the real world. Going on, number 16, stock and cash dividends in stock splits are automatically computed. What that means, we talked a little bit about dividends earlier. A dividend, of course, is a payment that a company will provide to its stockholders based on the number of shares of stocks that you have. In this game, you will all receive dividends, and that's a good thing. We like dividends. It's money that's coming to you. When you receive a dividend in the stock market game, the game will automatically apply that dividend by buying more shares of the stock that actually paid the dividend. That will increase the value of your portfolio, and that's a good thing. You will receive dividends. Moving on to some additional rules. Any violation of the rules of the stock market game may result in an invalidation of a transaction. If you do something like buy a stock, for example, when you try to buy it, it's exactly $3 per share. But when the transaction is actually processed by the game, it maybe dipped below $3 per share and is now $2.99 per share. That transaction will be invalidated. Okay, so that goes against the rule. There is a slight lag in time when transactions are actually processed. There is a code of participation for both me as the advisor as well as for you, a participant in the game. You're responsible for maintaining the secrecy of your password and the integrity of your portfolio. Do not share your password with anyone else who is not on your team. And if by some odd chance you should learn what another team's password is, you never place an order on another team's portfolio. But keep your password secret. It's your team's password. It's no one else's. Teams may not enter transactions and portfolios other than their own. If you are discovered to have placed an order on someone else's portfolio, you will be removed from the game and you will get a 0 in the stock market game grade, and you do get a participation grade, a significant participation grade in the stock market game. You would get a 0, and there would also be disciplinary action taken. So only place orders on your portfolio and do not share passwords. Last one, number 24, that I want to go over. Teams are responsible for reporting any major price discrepancies found in their portfolio. If you find something really weird, tell me about it. Several years ago, I had a stock market game team who did a transaction, and the next day they came to me and said, Mr. Vaughn, they were all excited. Did you see what happened to our stock market game account? I told them I had not. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, they went from having something like $100,000 in their portfolio to something like $250,000 in their portfolio. No one's portfolio doubles or more than doubles overnight. Something was wrong there. So I did report that to the stock market game, and in fact, they did find an error in the processing of their transaction. The transaction then was corrected, and they went from having $250,000 in their portfolio back down to where it should have been, around 100,000. If you see something odd like that, you do have to report it. If you try to live with this odd thing that happened and maybe thinking that this is going to help you win the game, it will eventually be discovered. And if you're sitting there with that kind of a situation, it would likely get you booted out of the game. You need to report anything that you see odd. We want this to be fair to everyone. Again, this has only happened once since I've been playing the stock market game, and this is like my 11th or 12th year of it. So it rarely happens, but it is possible. And with that, I'm going to stop this presentation. We have just covered the rules of the stock market game, and we are ready to start buying stock.